Brush Art was founded in 1962, and the company actually started in Lawrence, Kansas, and by my parents. And shortly after opening the company, they actually moved back here to Downs, Kansas, where they both grew up. And the company has resided here ever since that time. It was an advertising agency from the beginning. At that time, though, they had printing equipment involved in it, and they did some of the printing and so forth internally. But since that time, it evolved to become just kind of a pure play agency, to where none of the actual manufacturing or production happens in-house. That's all contracted out. But all the staff is pretty much committed to creative copywriters, customer service representatives, photographer, media planners and buyers, and accounting.
Our parents graduated in the same class in 1960 from Downs High School, and so they really wanted to move back home. My dad's dream was always opening a little shop on Main Street that no one really understood what he did, but he wanted to be back in his hometown, so it was important. For about 40 years, we were, probably 35 years, we were located downtown where Schooler Grain is now located. We were on the railroad tracks, and we moved out here almost 20 years ago.
The company grew, and once we got second generation involved, we really kind of reached out much further on a customer basis and so forth. And where up until that time, most of our customers were in a 2 to 3 state area. It's evolved now to where we have customers in all 50 states and in the provinces of Canada. And we service all those customers just out of our location here. We do have a few remote employees. We have a remote employee and then a few remote contract employees as well that we utilize that aren't here at the location. But the large majority of the staff resides here. It's really evolved. What's interesting is that as the technology's involved, our employment numbers haven't had to grow at the rate they would have had to back when so much of the process was mechanical. And with so much of it online and that aspect of it, and we've been able to, maintain nice employment size, but we've been able to continue with maintaining that set level of employees, been able to grow sales each year consecutively, and that's just through the continued utilization of the latest we can get our hands on as far as technology, and just utilizing as much as many of the online resources that we can. As far as the area and territory, like I said, we've got customers in all 50 states that we service out of our location here. About 40% of our business is media planning and buying, and that could be a wide range of media and channels. That could be radio, TV, it could be traditional print. Such a large percentage of what we buy is now online. In addition to the media and that, we do a lot of remarketing and retargeting programs where we're remarketing products and services to people that have already expressed interest for our customers' products online, through visiting their website and so forth.
We work with a lot of publications worldwide, so it's not just limited to the U.S. and Canada, but worldwide we work with a lot of suppliers. It
varies. We have customers in the food processing side of the business, the pet food processing side. Of course, where we're located, we naturally have a nice stable of agricultural related customers, but we're also heavy in the construction side of it. And then we've got somewhat of a separate division of the company that sells products and services to really governmental programs, and those being of all things like the national WIC programs and some of the food and drug safety type programs. We do a lot of the materials for different states around the country, Delaware, Michigan, Indiana, that type of thing. We do a lot of their support materials for those types of programs. And that all evolved back in 2008, 2009, around the general slowdown in the economy. And it was just an area that we saw that there was an opportunity for growth, where you saw a lot of construction slow down, and you even saw some slowdown in the ag side of it. And so we really developed that at that point, and it's become a nice percentage of our business now and continues to grow each year. You're seeing a big evolution, to really everything online. And I mean, even to the point now you're seeing that your website, if it's not supported by a mobile version behind it, Google's going to penalize you in your search optimization. And you're just seeing that technology transition at a very rapid rate. You're seeing a lot of the mediums that our customers were using evolving and changing and that type of thing. It still takes a real mix, but companies do have to evolve and stay ahead of it. And they have to make their products available, convenient, and the distribution method that they use and so forth has to be efficient, and the technology really plays into every aspect of it. And as I said earlier, we've been able to, maintain or grow our employment size, but with the utilization of technology and just that gain in efficiency and so forth, we're able to continue to grow as a company without having to dramatically, add overhead. So it's been a real benefit. What's interesting is that in 1985, 1986, we actually were a beta test area for Apple Computer and a lot of the software companies that were utilizing it. With our geographic location and so forth, we knew that it was something that we had to jump on right away and would become a big growth opportunity for us. So we went through a lot of the years when a lot of the layout programs and a lot of the software that are currently utilized to build so many of the products that we do now, as a beta test pilot location, we went through a lot of the hiccups and had to work through a lot of the challenges and issues that they had with a lot of the early versions of software. But that's really when it really started to change. And that was about the same time that we started to get second generation, involved in it and that type of thing, and just utilizing that technology in different ways that we hadn't been able to in the past. And it enabled us to phase out all traditions of in-house layout and strip up and that type of thing, and we moved away from that, and that was a tremendous gain in efficiency. And that was a very labor-intensive part of our business as well. But it enabled us to transition people over, train them on the new technology, and really dramatically improve efficiency. And it's funny how just the evolution, from then on, it's just, as each year's gone by, we probably become less of an attractive customer to the UPS and FedEx of the world. We're to the point now where we really don't ship anything. Everything is electronically transferred, in the evenings and that type of thing. We do a lot of FTP type transfer, a lot of Dropbox type transfers and that type of thing, larger files. And it's just gotten to the point where our daily shipments, where we used to go from 20 to 30 packages a day, now we're down to where we have maybe a few shipments a week. But our volume as a company is dramatically higher than it was when we were shipping all of that. And that's just through the utilization of the broadband and a lot of the Nex-Tech services that we utilize. And that, it would be everything from the video side of it, to the online. Even the basics, the basic files that are transferred for traditional things that we purchase, like the production of actual literature or catalogs, that type of thing, or even the ad materials that go in the traditional print publications that we still have customers that advertise on a regular basis. Really, the technology even drives the previous mediums as well. And every campaign that we run now for customers and so forth is driven around metrics. That's really comes back to the decision of, will they allocate budget to run that campaign? But the key is the metrics and the measurables of it, to where in the end they know really we can break it down to a cost per lead they receive from that campaign. And all of that is taking all the different mediums that we may be in, even trade shows. They may be at trade shows. They could be in traditional print publication ads. It could be online web banners. All of those we're setting up and utilizing all those to drive people to a website to where we can really measure traffic. And a lot of the websites that we'll drive them to isn't their normal website, but a landing page. And the only way they can get to that landing page is through seeing that ad, or by receiving a handout or incentive at a trade show and that type of thing. And so we can sit there and monitor the analytics on that site, and we know exactly how they got there. We know what dollars were spent and what medium pulled the most people. And it really enables you to fine-tune those dollars for the next year's campaign or the next season's campaign, and really heavy up funds in areas that really delivered the most bang for the buck for that company. And then really skinny back budget on areas that were maybe lesser performing parts of the campaign. And so the whole technology aspect of it, the analytics that you get from it and that, they make every marketing dollar spent so much more effective each year. And I think you find middle-level marketing managers in the companies that we work with have a much easier time going to ownership or management and asking for the funds because they actually have the metrics to support it. And this was the actual return on investment, and these are the units that were sold as the basis of this campaign. And management, you know, from their perspective, has a much easier time justifying it, and that they know what they're getting for the dollars invested. What you found is typically companies are going to look at a certain percentage of sales that they want to utilize to market and promote to grow sales for the upcoming season, for the upcoming year. And what we do as an agency is we'll go in and analyze. We'll look at what they've done historically. We'll look at what they're currently doing. We'll look at what works for them. We'll find out, do they have preseason order programs, that type of thing. And we'll look at it and we'll make an entire year's worth of recommendations on how to promote, you know, if it's an early order program, if it is, you know, some type of a specials for the end user. Are there incentives used to really create pull traffic at their dealer level? And we'll analyze all that and we'll put recommendations together for the year. And what we really like to do is we like to put all that together and put it together in a year for a plan so they can look at it as an overall single budget. And then those are all variables in there that they can adjust as the year goes on. If sales are higher than they want to, they very well want to increase spend in a particular area. Or if sales aren't happening, and like right now what we're experiencing, you watch corn go from $6.50 a bushel down to, you know, $3.20. You very well could see them pull back in certain areas and really adjust that budget for the current economic environment, what they're seeing out there. So there's a lot of manipulation and change that happens, you know, as the year goes on. It's an initial plan, but it's really a living document that's continually being adjusted and managed to where it really fits the current situation. So many of the customers will tell you up front they're not comfortable with that part of it, but they expect you to bring the technology and so forth to the table, but make it very simple to understand. And make it very transparent so they can report that to their management. And that's really what we've worked at on websites and that type of thing. In addition to Google Analytics, we've set up dashboards for so many of our customers' websites, and those dashboards set goals. And within the campaigns and so forth, it may be driving people to a website to watch a video and that type of thing. Well, they can set there in real time on the dashboard, and they can tell how many people are looking at the video, how long did they watch the video, did they watch the full video, that type of thing. Once they watch the video, where did they go on our site, and you know, and that type of thing. And we set up those features and functions to where they don't have to understand the technology in the background, but they have that very simplified, transparent, you know, way to measure it. And it's a very effective way for them to justify their marketing dollars. It's really been key. And you know, rural location is a challenge. It always would be. We used to, you know, on company vehicles, we used to put 4 times the mileage a year on a car, any of the company vehicles. And each year that mileage, you know, comes down further and further. And that's just been through the availability of the technology. When Nex-Tech came into the community and put fiber to every household, I mean, that was key. And I mean, it's enabled things for us to do like offsite, you know, we were always doing offsite backup, but we were never able to do that, you know, just through fiber from here. And it's actually in my basement, you know, and it's one of the ways that we're backing up and give ourselves the security of offsite storage and so forth. And we also do a lot on the cloud for backup. But the technology's been key for the growth for our business. And like I said, it's been key because through that technology, you could take employees that were comfortable doing a certain task or a certain process in the past, and they learn the new, and with the technology available, as things move quicker, they can just work that much more efficiently. So, and that's been one of our keys to growth, is having that technology available. And then we have a couple additional contract employees, and then we have stringer copywriters that we utilize, and then we have, of course, video production house that we utilize. One of our key programmers and so forth, Ross, and he works remotely, and he basically is, you know, on Skype most of the day with our other programmers here in the building. and that relationship works out really well, and it's enabled us to utilize a lot of contract type people that are very talented in a specific area, but we really don't have the volume for what they do really to justify full-time, but we can really go through on a contract basis, you know, very specific to campaigns, and we can deliver a much better campaign utilizing that talent on a remote basis. I mean, just to give you an idea, on like radio 30-second spots and so forth, we utilize a production house out of Arkansas, and we set up, and when we do the 30-second spots, we select the talent, which may be from North Carolina, which may be from, we do all this online, and we all call, you know, everybody calls in, he's on the mic system and so forth, and we sit there and we'll do 8-9 cuts on a 30-second radio spot, and you know, everybody's remotely connected and so forth. The client can even set in on it, listen to it, and that type of thing. And we'll do a recut, and to where we get a final take. And it may be a mix of several of the cuts till we get to the final 30-second spot. But all of that's just done online, and it's done efficiently. And you know, large voiceover files like that, you know, 5 years ago were a challenge to transfer, let alone doing it in real time now. And it's just the amount of travel that it's eliminated for us is incredible. And but the productivity, you know, to be able in 30-40 minutes to cut a 30-second spot with people that would have remotely traveled in from, you know, 3 to 4 different areas to the studio previously, is just a huge gain in efficiency. But you know, the evolution of technology has made it to where, you know, what used to take us 6 months to pull off, you can pull off in a week. And it's just, it continues to evolve that way, and I anticipate it'll continue that direction. You know, mobile's a big, you know, getting every customer to where every product and service they have is conveniently available mobile is key right now. And I think for them to be effective, if we just sit there and look at analytics of incoming traffic on our site, if you would look 5 years ago, maybe 1% to 2% of that traffic would come in on a mobile device. Right now we sit there and monitor it between like an iPad type device or a mobile phone and that type of thing. On most of our customers, it's 40% of the traffic on their site now. And that's been a trend that's gone from 2% to 40% in this 5-year curve. I think it's just it's critical that everything that you have available as a customer, I mean for a customer as a manufacturer and that type of thing is available conveniently, you know, at least on a mobile basis. And I think that's probably where, you know, that's the quickest evolution that you're going to see happening, that's happening right in front of us right now.